in which I spent much of my later years of my earthly sojourn. During my earth life, I had the good fortune to see much progress along the line of mechanical improvements. In fact, for the harvesting of grain from the tool called a cradle to the wonderful machine called a combine that not only cut the grain, but threshed it and loaded it in a truck ready to go to market. At my birth, the country around my home was mostly covered with dense forest, some of which was already cut away by the pioneers so they might provide themselves with the various foods for their livelihood. However, it still remained for my brothers and myself to do much of the clearing away of forests in the earlier years so that later generations could enjoy the extensive farms of fertile soil in our township and county. At this writing, the 17th of January, 1955, on my 78th birthday, am enjoying reasonably good health and really pleased to say that I am proud of the friendship of the many folks that I have met and worked with through the years. I happen to have been the third son and child of a family of 10 children, namely Charles, Samuel, Franklin, Clarence, Calvin, Alvin, Ida, John, Albert, and Bertha. Prior to this time, Charles, Alvin, Ida, John, Albert, and the parents have passed on to that higher life, to the spirit realm, where not hampered by the physical body, they are progressing to higher spiritual attainment. It was my good fortune in my earlier life to have linked myself with a splendid young lady, Thady Lucinda Kyle, and together we spent 41 years in a reasonably pleasant life, leaving to posterity 2 splendid sons, Howard and Harold. Time is no respecter of persons, and when the physical body becomes weakened to the extent it can no longer be maintained, the spirit entity is then released to find its place in the higher and better spiritual haven. So on May 29, 1952, our good wife and mother was released from her mortal form to take her place with her many relatives and friends that too have passed on to that higher life and understanding. I am pleased at this time to say that my life is one of peace, comfort, and harmony, surrounded by many friends and sons, Harold, Howard, and family. Family consisting of Marcella, his wife, and children, Howard Jr., Franklin, Juanita Kay, and Leela May. Grandchildren of which one can really be proud. In the past century, mechanical development has been very rapid, supplying the many needs of the material body, but to say that a spiritual understanding and needs of the spiritual have been woefully neglected is really putting it mild indeed. At this time, we hope and feel that future generations will have the opportunity to receive the information from real spiritual teachers, enabling them to know more of the truths of spiritual possibilities there are about us for them to understand, teaching them, in fact, to unfold spiritually for better guidance while still in the mortal, as well as a better understanding of that greater world of spirit where all of us must go. So, to conclude this brief message to all, including, I hope, great-grandchildren that may be coming along, from one who has had a world of experience, I wish to recite a poem of which I am really fond, written by Nellie R. White. The title of this poem is The Home at the End of the Road. It is ever so fine just to be glad to live in a house by the side of the road, and to be good friends to the wayfaring man as he journeys along with his load. But to me there is something that seems quite as fine. Let us make it a part of life's code, just to speak now and then with a wayfaring man of the house at the end of the road. Does he know, and do we, just as much as we might, of that other and greater abode, which is waiting for us when earth's highway shall end, of the home at the end of the road? Or our lives are not journeys that end at the grave. We all travel, regardless of mode, for above and beyond the long roadways of earth, to the house at the end of the road. And that house is builded of timber we send. All our thoughts and our deeds make a load that is daily sent there by our acts and our prayers for a home at the end of the road. So then let us send timbers of unselfish love to be put into that new abode, and send thoughts of blessed peace and of joy to help build that new house at the end of the road. We shall find in a garden right next to that house all the fruits of the seeds that we sowed as we walked here below with so seldom a thought of the house at the end of the road. So I'm asking myself some grave questions right now. Am I building a worthy abode? Am I proud of the home that's awaiting my soul in the home at the end of the road? Hold on. Adieu to all, Frank J. Renollet. This poem by Sam Walter Foss is entitled My House by the Side of the Road. They're hermit souls that live withdrawn in the peace of their self-content. There are souls like stars that dwell apart in a fellowless firmament. There are pioneer souls that blaze their path where highways never ran. But let me live by the side of the road and be a friend to man. Let me live in a house by the side of the road where the race of men go by, the men who are good and the men who are bad. As good and as bad as I would not sit in the scorner's seat or hurl the cynic's ban. Let me live in my house by the side of the road and be a friend to man. I see from my house by the side of the road, by the side of the highway of life, the men who press on in the ardor of hope, and the men who are faint with the strife. But I turn not away from their smiles nor their tears, both parts of an infinite plan. Let me live in my house by the side of the road and be a friend to man. I know there are brook-gladdened meadows ahead, and mountains of a wearisome height, that the road passes on through the long afternoon and stretches away to the night. But still I rejoice when the travelers rejoice, and weep with the strangers that moan, nor live in my house by the side of the road like a man who dwells alone. Let me live in my house by the side of the road where the race of men go by. They are good, they are bad, they are weak, they are strong, wise, foolish, so am I. Then why should I sit at the scorner's seat or hurl the cynic's ban? Let me live in my house by the side of the road and be a friend to man. This poem, written by Walter Malone, entitled Opportunity. They do me wrong who say I come no more, when once I knock and fail to find you in. For each day I stand outside your door and bid you wake, to rise, to fight, and win. Wail not for precious chances passed away. Weep not for golden ages on the wane. Each night I burn the records of the day. At sunrise, every soul is born again. Laugh like a boy at splendors that have sped. To vanished joys be blind and deaf and dumb. My judgments seal the dead past with its dead, but never bind a moment yet to come. Though deep in mire, wring not your hands and weep. I lend my arm to all who say I can. No shame-faced outcast ever sank so deep, but yet might rise and be again a man. Dost thou behold thy lost youth all aghast? Dost reel from righteous retribution's blow? Then turn from spotted archives of the past to find the future pages white as snow. Art thou a mourner? Rouse thee from thy spell. Art thou a sinner? Sins may be forgiven. Each morning gives thee wings to flee from hell. Each night a star to guide thy feet to heaven. This poem, written by Mary March Baker, entitled The Law. I ask no good where'er I go, that I have not thy service won, nor ask that any joy shall flow into my life, if I to none have given joy. I cannot draw from empty store. It is the law. I hold this true. It is my creed. Within me lies my heaven or hell. It is my own thought or deed. I build the home where I must dwell, a marble mansion or tent of straw. I am the builder. It is the law. My harvest in the yet to be is that which here and now I sow. I am uplifted and made free by that of wrong which I outgrow. If lifelines I distorted draw, I must erase them. It is the law. I weave the garments I must wear, if beggars' rags or robes of kings. 'Tis I the warp and woof prepare. 'Tis I alone the shuttle fling. No one can for me one thread withdraw. Myself alone. It is the law. My Savior is the good I've done. From this alone my heaven's grown. My crown, the love that I have won, and deep within is God enthroned. I to myself will surely draw that which is mine. It is the law. None questions but the voice within, and my accuser is the soul. My judge is that stern discipline that ever seeks to keep me whole. I cannot from this court withdraw. I must bear witness. It is the law. This poem, written by Herbert Carruth, entitled Evolution or God. A fire mist and a planet, a crystal and a cell, a jellyfish and a saurian, and caves where cavemen dwell. Then a sense of law and beauty, and a face turned to the clod. Some call it evolution, while others call it God. Like tides on a crescent sea beach, when the moon is new and thin, into our hearts high yearnings come welling and surging in, come from the mystic ocean whose rim no foot has trod. Some of us call it longing, while others call it God. A haze on the far horizon, the infinite tender sky, the ripe rich tints of the cornfield and the wild goose sailing high, and all over upland and lowland the charm of the goldenrod. Some of us call it autumn, while others call it God. A picket frozen on duty, a mother starved for her brood, Socrates drinking the hemlock, a Jesus on the rood, and millions who humble and nameless the straight heart pathway trod. Some call it consecration, while others call it God. Written by Jeanette Bolden, entitled The Cause. I am the pattern of my mind. I shape the vesture of my soul. By power of thought I weave or wind a shroud or unseen aureole. I am myself the prison house, or I am the boundless singing sky. What boon or bane my days espouse, I am in truth the reason why. By power of thought I'm king or clod. The law that frees shall also bind, and so I strew the cosmic sod with seeds of light and reap its kind.